Hey, this is Rick and welcome back to another unboxing, review, and a tip. Now, if you've been following my series, you know that I got into worm composting, using castings for nutrients for your plants or for garden soil. So I come up with this idea. It's actually based off a guy named Larry Hall. Check his videos out on YouTube. And he was suggesting a basket, a wire basket, to shake out your worms to get your castings. That basket was actually in a store that I don't have locally and they weren't shipping. So I looked online and I found one called Tidy Home, and it's a wire basket, mesh basket, and it's used for storage and stackable. So I thought I'd give it a shot. I bought this online. I'll put the link at the description on YouTube. You can get this off of eBay or Amazon and ship it directly to your house. I think it was under $10, and I hope it'll work. It's not going to be used for what it's actually supposed to be used for. We're going to try another use for it. Man, they didn't use any packing or nothing in it. They just shrink wrapped the darn thing and sent it. So I would suggest to them maybe coming up with a little better system, but I guess that's how they can get it cheaper to you. And now this actually says Mainstays, Mainstays, stackable basket. It did say Tidy Living on the original ad, and it says for ideal under the sink or on countertop. And maybe you can see a picture of how they showed it. And it also says Walmart USA. So this is from all over the place. I think everybody's stamping their name on this thing. It looks like it's made out of stainless steel. And we'll get some measurements on it. And the basket's going to measure out to be about 13.5 inches long by about 7 inches wide. And it's also measuring 3.5 inches deep. It's got little handles on the side you can put your hands in. So I think it's going to work pretty well. It's got little welded feet in there, and the mesh. And the thing I liked about the mesh is looking at it, because I was looking for screen material in the hardware store and it was expensive, and then I had to make a frame and everything else. These little, if you can see that right there, the little wire mesh is measuring 1/8 inch on the smallest side and then almost 1/4 inch on the longer side. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually sift our compost. Whatever falls through there should be nice and fluffy to use for soil amendment or to go ahead and do some of our worm tea. So it's still pretty tough. It doesn't look too bad. So let's go to the next step then. Let's go ahead and pop our top off of our worm bin. Periodically throughout my videos I may edit it a little bit too to speed it up, because you don't want to sit here and watch me fumble with a bucket. My hands don't work like they used to. Ta-da! And now you can see really black down there at the bottom, and we want to get some of that out of there. And hopefully you can see some of those worms in there moving around. These are red wiggler worms. Now I put leaves in there and you can see a lot of stems in there. I wouldn't advise that if you're trying to get your compost to go faster. Just use the shredded cardboard, some other type of compost that's broken down, and some blended food. If you didn't see that video, check back my other video on how to blend your food for faster compost. So we'll put a glob in there, and I can see there's worms in there, and some of that cardboard hasn't broken down. It's nice and moist. And you want to go down to the bottom, because that's basically where it all falls down to. We'll put it all in our basket there. And watch out you don't smash them when you try to get it out of there. I think we got a good amount there. With these nice little handles on here, we just shake it back and forth. Pop it up and down, back and forth. And this won't hurt the worms. They're just kind of bouncing around in there. Now this is a really tight knit mesh, so maybe we should let this dry out a little bit. So I would recommend that. Move your food piles of your worms to one side. Let the worms gravitate over to that side. Pull back some of that compost, maybe put it out on a table or outside, wherever you have your bins, and let it dry out. And then put it through. Because since it's moist, it's hanging up a little bit since it's only 1/8 to 1/4. See, if I go over it back and forth, I'm getting a little bit more out. But you want to get those worms out of your way so you don't smash them. And this should keep the cocoons from falling through too, and they'll stay in there. I'm seeing quite a few cocoons laying in here. There's one right there. So you kind of get the idea. Just go like that. It's over here for right now. But you can see in there that nice dark color of compost starting to come down in there, or the worm castings. So that's not a ton, but it gives you the idea of what you can do. You buy one of these baskets under $10. I'll show you the link. You can buy those other pan sifting baskets that go in 5 gallons, but they're a little costly. If you're on a budget like me, I try to find things that are going to work. And based on Larry Hall's video, this is what he's gotten, something like this, and it works pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good size. And once you accumulate more compost, these guys got to work a little bit harder. It's still my starter culture, so maybe not broken down as much as I'd like, but maybe enough that I can make some worm tea. You're only going to need like a 1/4 cup of these castings, and we'll put them into something and we'll make some worm tea. If you want to find out about how to make worm tea, comment on the bottom of the YouTube comment section underneath the video, and let me know if you're interested in that, and then I'll go ahead and make up a video on how to make up some worm composting tea. So hey, thanks again for watching. I appreciate the feedback and sharing with your friends. And once again, subscribe. Take care.